On a chilly and rain-soaked night, the zoo in Russia was unusually quiet. The usual chatter of animals was muted by the downpour, and the distant rumble of thunder added a foreboding sense of urgency. Inside the zoo, the staff had become increasingly anxious. They were looking for Muzia, a beloved one-year-old resident who had been acting peculiarly all day. Muzia, a small black and white cat with striking green eyes, had been seen waddling through the zoo with her swollen belly, slipping in and out of various spaces, as though she were searching for something. The staff were worried. They could hear her faint cries but could not locate her. And as the rain began to fall harder, they feared something terrible might happen if they didn't find her soon. Muzia wasn't just any ordinary cat, and her story was nothing short of remarkable. She hadn't always called the zoo home. The zoo, famous for its exotic animals like tigers, bears, leopards, and monkeys, had never had a resident house cat. But everything changed one winter morning when Alice, one of the zookeepers, had made an unexpected discovery. On her way to work, she noticed a small patch of dirt moving on the side of the road. Upon closer inspection, she realized it was no patch of dirt at all but a tiny, shivering kitten, so cold and weak that an icicle had formed on her nose. Alice picked up the tiny, nearly frozen kitten, fitting perfectly in the palm of her hand, and tucked her inside her jacket to keep her warm. As she hurried to the zoo, Alice wasn't sure if the kitten, later named Muzia, would make it through the day. Muzia was barely clinging to life, and the zoo's veterinary team scrambled to do everything they could to save her. After treating her for hypothermia and giving her a warm place to rest, all they could do was wait. Incredibly, Muzia defied the odds. She survived the first night, then the second, and then a week. The little kitten, once nearly frozen to death, had a remarkable will to live. She became a beloved figure among the zoo staff. Every day between shifts, the zookeepers would stop by the staff room to see Muzia, showering her with love and attention. Muzia, though still small and frail, started to thrive under their care. She grew stronger, more playful, and soon became part of the zoo family. But Muzia's growing curiosity soon put her in danger. The staff room where she stayed had a large window, and beyond that window was the vast and wild world of the zoo. Tigers, lions, and other predators roamed just beyond the glass, and though Muzia longed to explore, the staff knew it was too dangerous for her to roam freely. For the first year of her life, they kept her indoors, only allowing her short walks on a leash. They feared that if she ventured out on her own, she wouldn't survive. One fateful day, their worst fear came true. Someone left the door to the staff room open, and Muzia slipped outside, vanishing into the sprawling grounds of the zoo. Alice spent 2 days searching frantically for Muzia. Each time she passed the crocodile enclosure or the lion's den, her heart sank with worry. What if Muzia had wandered into one of the predator pens? Her colleagues told her not to get her hopes up, warning her that Muzia might never return. But Alice refused to give up hope. Then, on the third day, Muzia came back. Alice spotted her pawing at the glass door of the staff room, drenched from the rain but unharmed. Tears of relief welled up in Alice's eyes as she opened the door to let her back in. Muzia, though wet and bedraggled, had somehow survived her adventure. Alice had initially intended to find a permanent home for Muzia, but after this, she couldn't bear the thought of saying goodbye. Muzia was home now, and Alice's love for her only grew deeper. Over the next few weeks, Alice noticed something different about Muzia. The once playful and energetic cat had become lethargic and irritable. She no longer darted around the room, swatting at passing feet from under the tablecloth or chasing shadows. Instead, she spent most of her time lying near the door, staring out at the zoo grounds but showing no interest in exploring. Alice began leaving the door open for her again, thinking Muzia might want to wander, but the cat simply lay on the steps outside, unmoving. Alice couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Muzia had always been a little unpredictable, But this sudden change in behavior concerned her. Then one afternoon, after returning from feeding the lions, Alice found Musia had disappeared again. This time, Alice didn't panic right away. Musia had found her way home once before, and Alice was confident she could do it again. But as the hours passed and Musia didn't return, Alice began to worry. The rain started to fall harder, and as the second day came and went without any sign of Musia, her anxiety grew. The animals were restless, as if they could sense that something was wrong. The keepers grabbed their flashlights and spread out across the zoo, searching for her in every corner, fearing the worst. Then, by the lion enclosure, they heard it, a faint, distressed cry. Following the sound, Alice and the others made their way to a small wooded area near the edge of the zoo. Deep in the bushes, hidden under a thick canopy of leaves, they found Musia. But she wasn't alone. Alice crawled through the underbrush to reach her and saw, to her amazement, that Musia was lying on her side, nursing not only 4 tiny newborn kittens, but also a cluster of baby hedgehogs. Alice's heart skipped a beat. Where had the hedgehogs come from? And why were they curled up with Musia and her kittens? Musia had taken the hedgehogs under her care, nursing them alongside her own young as if they were part of the family. Alice carefully gathered Musia, her kittens, and the hedgehogs into a box lined with blankets and brought them back to the staff room. She couldn't believe what she had just witnessed. Musia had somehow adopted these hedgehogs, caring for them as if they were her own. When Alice told the vet what she had found, he laughed, thinking it was a joke. But when he opened the box and saw the baby hedgehogs nestled against Musia's fur, his expression changed to one of disbelief. "I've never seen anything like this," he muttered, inspecting Musia and her young. He separated the kittens from the hedgehogs to ensure that both were healthy and safe. But when they returned to check on Musia later, they found her sitting proudly with the hedgehogs once again nestled against her, purring contentedly as they burrowed into her fur for warmth. It was clear now. Musia had adopted all 8 of the babies, and despite their prickly spines, she treated the hedgehogs with the same motherly affection as her kittens. Alice was amazed, but also concerned. She worried that the hedgehogs might hurt Musia or her kittens with their sharp quills. So she tried to separate them again and bottle feed the hedgehogs. But after hours of refusal, Alice realized she had no choice but to return them to their feline mother. Musia's story was extraordinary, but it wasn't entirely unprecedented. Alice recalled hearing about another cat in Russia named Rosinka, who had adopted a baby squirrel monkey after it had been abandoned by its mother. That story had made headlines, and now Musia's tale seemed just as miraculous. Could it be that cats in Russia had a special inclination for adopting animals in need? Musia, like Rosinka, had demonstrated an extraordinary level of compassion, defying the typical image of cats as aloof or self-serving. In the weeks that followed, Musia continued to care for her unusual family. Alice and the other zookeepers were in awe of her ability to nurse and nurture not only her kittens, but also the hedgehogs. They later discovered that the hedgehog's mother had tragically died in an accident involving a lawnmower near the zoo. The baby hedgehogs had been left orphaned and starving until Musia found them and took them in as her own. To ensure that Musia and her family were safe, Alice set up a small house for them just outside the staff room. Every day, she watched in amazement as Musia raised her blended family. The hedgehog's sharp quills, which would have scared off most animals, didn't bother Musia at all. It was as if she understood their vulnerability and saw them not as a threat, but as creatures in need of care. Musia's story spread beyond the zoo, capturing the hearts of people across Russia and beyond. She became a symbol of compassion, proving that love and motherhood could transcend species boundaries. The tiny kitten that Alice had once saved from the cold had now become a mother to both kittens and hedgehogs, showing the world that even the most unexpected bonds can bring warmth, safety, and love. In the end, Musia thrived, and so did her kittens and hedgehogs. Alice marveled at the resilience and adaptability of her beloved cat. Grateful for the lessons she had taught them all about kindness, compassion, and the unexpected ways that love can grow in the most unlikely places. Musea's family, though unconventional, was a testament to the power of care and the beauty of the animal kingdom's surprising connections.